I love this place. Can't wait till I'm loving on that garden. You see those weeds are already back. It's crazy. A little warm weather, a little moisture, and they grow, grow, grow. Wonder if that's any indication of how the plants are going to grow. We'll have to see. It's a perfect 80 degrees in the greenhouse. And as you can see, I've been working on potting up some of the bigger tomatoes and peppers. And I sprinkled some diatomaceous earth in here on the ones that are on the ground only because of the wood chips and the possibilities of fire ants. I came out here the first couple days that I put the wood chips in here and fire ants were everywhere. So I thought, well, I'll just put some diatomaceous earth on these plants. And before I set them out in the garden, I'll just give them a rinse. Get that off the leaves so that the pollinators can come along. I'm not really worried about that. We've been getting so much rain. I don't think a little diatomaceous earth is going to hinder anything because it rinses off really easy. As you can see, I've got several plants that need potting up. This was a lovely little beefsteak that's not so little. And then I've got my stash over here that I'm going to be potting up for myself if they don't get to go in the garden before too long because they are getting big. But I've got peppers I can share with my friends and neighbors and whomever. I've got lots of tomatoes that I'm going to grow some in containers. I'm going to grow some in here, but I'm going to give a lot away too. Since it is my first year, I don't feel right about charging for plant starts. But next year, and the 5-year goal I told y'all was to get a high tunnel. Not sure if I'm going to try to finance that myself or if I'm going to try to go through the NCRS. I'm just not real sure about that. I need to do a lot more research. I don't want to be tied to the government. That's my worries about that. I don't really want to be tied to the government if I can do it on my own. So that is my 5-year plan. I would like to, way behind the garden there's plenty of space to put a large high tunnel. And I think it would be awesome to grow starts organically, just like I did these, and sell them to the public as starts. And take the pressure off of some of the senior citizens that love to grow organic vegetables but are not able to do it anymore. I could put it in a big pot for them and they could have it right there, you know, wherever. And I won't mind delivering it to them if I know that they're unable or incapable of coming to get it. Or if they don't have family that'll do that for them. And I'm not interested in charging a big old high price, anything like that. I just want to share the nutrition and pay a little expenses. That's it. I'm not out to make a big profit. That's not my thing. I'm just more interested in health and the community and our elderly. As y'all know, I have my mother who is soon to be 80 and my father-in-law who just turned 79 living here. And I have brought them back to health by feeding them organically as much as possible. Now, I do let them have a few processed things because that's their life and I let them have a choice. I'm not taking their dignity away from them completely and saying, no, you can't have this every day. Now, I do tell them no on a lot of sugar stuff. I have to because the side effects for my mom is the chronic D word. When she first came to me, it was more than 21 times a day of incontinence D word. I mean, you know, it's serious. We're down to 2 times a day, some days 6 times, but that's nothing like what it was when I first brought her here. And that's because of the diet change. Cutting out as much sugar as she would let me. You know, I mean, I'm not being so hard that, no, you'll never have another bite of chocolate again, or this, that, and the other. I don't do that to her. 1 day a week, usually I'll let her have something. If she asks for pancakes, I let her have pancakes with a tiny bit of sugar-free syrup, which makes you go too. So, I mean, it's a constant fight. And then, with the D word. And then, my father-in-law is the polar opposite. I have to fight to get the vegetables in him to keep him going. So, and he's not real big into the vegetables, but I make him eat some. Whenever he first came here, he was starving. He had been living by himself, and he had developed cataracts on his eyes, and he didn't tell me. And I wasn't checking on him like I was when I was working in town in the clinic. I would go by on my lunch hour and make sure he had what he needed, or I'd take him food. I did not realize what was going on with his eyes. And my husband, his son, was going on the weekends, and yeah, they'd get food then, but he didn't think to check to see if he had groceries there or not. And he was telling me a fib. I would say, do you have this? Do I need to go get this? Do you want me to hire a sitter and take you to go to town? And he told me, no, I'm driving, I'm doing it. And he wasn't. He was not going anywhere. And so he started having these syncopal spells, or passing out spells, and he wouldn't even remember what was going on. One day, the neighbors found him out in the yard. He had passed out and had been out for a while, and they got him to the hospital by ambulance, and he was there 3 hours before he came to himself and could tell them who to contact. So that was crazy. For some reason, the information had been in the computer, but some kind of glitch or something threw all the information out, and they were starting over, so they didn't have the contact information. And I know that they had the information originally because I put it in myself when I worked at the clinic. It was all tied to the hospital. So it wasn't that, it was just, you know, one of them fluky things. Anyway, so we decided right then and there, okay, you're not living by yourself anymore either. Because my mother-in-law died back in 2006. So he was on his own. And there's his old truck that he was driving. He won't get rid of it. It'll run, but it ain't going down the road. But anyway, she died. And so he was on his own. And he did not want to come live with us right away. I kept asking him, you know, just come. I'll worry less about you if you're here and I can take care of you. And he wouldn't do it. Well, he finally ran out of choices. It was either here or the nursing home, and we did not want the nursing home for him or for my mom. My mom was in Tennessee, and I moved her here once we got her strong enough to travel. Really wasn't strong enough to travel. We prayed the whole 8-hour drive. But anyway, I keep saying but anyway, I'm sorry. I'm a rambler. Got him here, and he couldn't see, and I was feeding him anything and everything, and he was gobbling it up. But now that we've gotten his eyes fixed and he can see and he's not starving to death anymore, he's picky. He doesn't want his vegetables like he should. But I think this summer when he's out here, I'm going to let him help me in the garden a little bit this summer if he's able. I told him all winter, I said, save your strength. We're going to be picking maters and beans. So I've done these trellises here for the runner beans, and hopefully he can just come right here and grab him a handful and be proud that he's helping. You know, it's not, I'm short, so I did these, you know, to the ground. He's a little taller than me. He probably could barely even lift an arm to have to pick, you know. And then of course I'm gonna do some more cattle panels. I've got this one over here for the tomatoes, and I need several more. So hopefully if he works in the garden some, he'll want to eat from the garden some. Now he's been eating cabbage all winter long. He loves that. But he's not into the broccoli and the green beans and things like that. Which is crazy because I can fix him homemade vegetable soup and he will eat every bit of those vegetables. So guess what he gets a whole lot of? Vegetable soup. But I let him have cornbread with it. So I'm not totally depriving him. I'm, you know, not making him just, oh, you're going to eat only vegetables. He likes meats, so I buy the meats from the butcher. I go get the grass-fed, pasture-raised, no hormone stuff. Once a month, I make an effort to hire a sitter for a whole day, and I go to the butcher. I go to Sam's, Lowe's, or Tractor Supply, or one of the feed stores, or you know, something like that, something that I want to do. I add into that day because I'm here 24/7 unless I hire a sitter, and that's expensive at $10 an hour. That adds up really, really fast. And so this month I hired a sitter in the end of last month for 2 days a week for 4 hours each day, and I'm taking that Master Gardener class. I decided after 5 years of having Mom here, I needed to do something for me. And I needed the education to do this garden. So, because I want to do it organically. And grant you, the Master Gardener class, they talk a lot about herbicides and pesticides, you know, fertilizers and things like that. But they're bringing in some organic options too. Not as much as a couple of us in the class would like, because that's why we chose to take the class, was we wanted to learn the organic way of vegetable gardening. It's been more about ornamentals and stuff. And that's okay, because some of it just goes hand in hand, and we're learning about grasses and different types of weeds. And Lord, I've got plenty of weeds, if you can see in this retaining wall area. I had started at the end of last summer putting plastic down some and cardboard, trying to make a place to actually plant things that would grow really good here. Because of the slope, the moisture drains, so it's moist, but it's not soggy. But as you can see, the weeds are ridiculous, and hand weeding this big spot is quite a chore. And the weeds have taken over my garlic that I just weeded out. I just had this clear, but you know, weeds are my life. I think I'm gonna make that my slogan: weeds are my life. This little nasty place in between the two beds, it's all got weeds. Weeds are my life. The husband and I are getting ready to build a step-off deck and make a walkway out here. So that's why nothing's been done there. We've only been in this house 2 years. And that may seem like, well, you've had plenty of time. Yeah, but it takes plenty of money. And we try to keep our costs on everything low. We're not into being in debt, and we don't use plastic. So, that's that. I'm relieved that I didn't destroy this thing. It's a yellow plum. And it's actually pretty. And I'm glad. I was really worried about it. You hate to put some money into something and then you kill it on your stupidity. So the fact that it's growing in spite of me is wonderful. And I didn't kill Terry's Bradford pear by putting straight plastic on it and not covering it with a cloth first. It seems to have done all right through the winter. I planted it back in the fall. And the stems are green, so that's great. Grass needs cut. Lawnmower blades need sharpened. But now you know about my 2-patient crew. That's what I call my mom and my father-in-law, the 2-patient crew.